Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ash, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I help travel advisors grow their business with tools, trainings, and insider strategies. Tonight, I am showing you everything destination weddings, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. Before we dive in, go ahead and make sure that you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you can get notified because I do trainings like this every week. And if you're stopping by and watching it on replay, make sure you go ahead and comment hashtag replay so that I know you stopped by. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let me remove all of this fancy stuff off your screen here. And like I said, tonight we are doing destination weddings where we're going to be creating once in a lifetime celebrations. Now, a short table of contents so you kind of understand everything that we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about why, destinations, and how you get paid, vendor commissions, and how to book. We're going to talk about wedding package examples, planning timelines plus tips and tricks, tools and tangible items for clients, country requirements and LGBTQ plus safety, qualifying your wedding client and their workflow, and of course, ways to market and action steps to take after this training so you know how to start as a destination wedding advisor at the end of this. Let's go ahead and get started. So, why promote destination weddings? Guys, that's 25% of the weddings are destination weddings now, and it's growing fast. Couples love it because it's stress free, all inclusive experiences. They can just set it up over there, pay somebody, and the planning will all get taken care of. They just have to communicate. And of course, advisors love it because the higher commissions, and we're going to get multiple bookings since we are doing the groups of the people that are coming along with the wedding. So, destination weddings aren't just a small niche anymore. They're a quarter of the market now. And couples are drawn to all inclusive packages that simplify the planning for us as advisors. One couple often turns into 20 plus guest bookings, plus a honeymoon. So, that's a lot of commissions just from one single lead. And it is a great reason alone to push destination weddings. How do advisors get paid? Well, of course, we're always going to get paid for the commission on the rooms, right? That's always going to be roughly around anywhere from 10 to 21%, depending on who you're booking with and if they have a deal for that month where you guys get more commission. On top of that, there are some places that will pay for wedding packages or like any events or any add ons. They do become commissionable for some resorts. So you can walk out easily making 10 to 15% easily off of a wedding package if you book it the right one. There are extras and add-ons that we can get paid for inside packages sometimes that they allow. It really just depends on the vendor, but we can get paid on some of the extras, the decor, private dinners, spa excursions. If it's part of the package and they have add-ons that they give us commission towards, it could be one of those. And lastly, we have the planning fee. That, of course, is optional, an advisor fee for you to charge directly. I suggest you consider how much time you're going to spend on this one booking. If it is a booking that's not happening, like we're in 2025 right now, if that booking's not happening until 2027 and you can foresee that you're doing a lot of work in between then you're going to want to charge a fee because you want to get paid for the work that you're doing. You might want to just charge it just to give them a quote, right? You can have two separate fees, one to give them a quote for the wedding, and then even another fee just to go ahead and work on the process of booking the entire wedding. It's really honestly up to you, but I don't charge personally to give quotes for weddings because I just that's fine. I can tell you some good ideas, but I definitely do charge one for myself because it's a lot of work for us when we're doing destination weddings, and it's a lot of time that we go without getting paid because we're normally not going to get paid until after the wedding or after the rooms pay out. So we need something in between. So definitely talk with your advisors, talk with legal, whoever, to figure out what's the best setting for you when it comes to that. But please don't do any work and not get paid for it, okay? Vendor commission examples. So what I'm showing you right now is examples of like different ways you guys can make commission if it's not in a package only setting. For example, Hyatt, they have different resorts inside Hyatt, all inclusive. They alone pay 10% on their packages for the weddings. I use them a lot for weddings. I always, if somebody wants a quote, I'm suggesting at least one of the places in Hyatt. They've got Dreams, Breathless, Secrets. They've got all of that inside of there. So take a look at it. And then, of course, if you book directly, you get 10% on rooms. And they have a really nice reward program that you can also kind of credit towards the rooms. And they do have perks and stuff for the extra rooms that are booking. So definitely take a look at them. Palace Resorts, they pay 17% on the rooms, and then they don't actually pay you for the packages. They pay commission on the extras. So that's just how that works for them. Riu pays 15% on wedding packages. Iberostar pays 15% on wedding day events. So, for example, if they have a cocktail hour, if they have a spa setting, if they have rooms, also if they do dinners, and I've seen some that like let you will go out onto this little cruise ship. This was in Europe though, but you get to go out there and go on a cruise ship with your whole family. It's a part of the resort, so it really just depends. But there are certain days like where they have events throughout for the wedding party, and you can get paid for those. Charisma up to 21%. Honestly, I don't really like the resorts at Charisma, so I don't play around with them too much. I normally just stick with the top three. Hyatt, Palace, and Riu are normally really great resorts for people to get married at. And then, of course, branch out. We have Barcelo, we have Sandals. You'd be surprised I'm not talking about Sandals, but Sandals is great, and people love Sandals weddings, but they're very, in my mindset, they're expensive. If I offer that, it really just depends on the budget and what the couple expects. Now, of course, don't put yourself in a box and not suggest it because you don't think they like it, but just really listen to your client when it comes to the resort. And we're going to talk about that tonight as well. Wedding package examples: what couples get and what you earn. So here's some examples. With Hyatt, they get complimentary with rooms, add-ons, and preview credits. They do have some test drives inside of their resorts depending on the resort. Test drive basically means they can go and look at the resort, and then they have, normally it's 2 or 3 days they can go and stay there. It'll get comped, or a part of it will get comped, but it won't get comped until after the wedding, so they'll take it off the final price. Palace Resorts are complimentary with room minimums. Basically means they can get a room for free, or sometimes they'll have a honeymoon package or something like that. Perk scale with guest count. More people show up, the better the perks are. Riu Royal package. So here's an example package. So this is 4,200 for 20 guests. Decor, flowers, cake, and toast is what's included. So with that's all it's going to be in that wedding. Of course, they'll have the ceremony too, but that's only for 20 guests. So always keep in mind, you guys are going to notice a lot inside of the Hyatt websites. They'll give you a whole package and they'll show you exactly the different packages and everything. In there, though, it'll tell you, listen, this only holds so many guests. So when they're quoting it, make sure you get that whole guest thing, because you'll notice a lot of the packages stop, or you have to add on more people to cover the package. Iberostar's Nature of Love. This is one of their packages. It's more of, they have sets that you can choose from, but you can customize them. It's not necessarily like a package because you can choose the options in between it, but the Nature of Love is how the inspiration flows. And they have like different type of settings for each one. So there's just some examples. You can always find these inside of the vendor directly. You can't really find it on Vax, Pleasant Holidays, something like that. You have to go directly with it. Can you still book weddings necessarily with Pleasant Holidays and all of them? You can start there. Yeah, you can book the group rooms in there. Yeah, but the real perks for the weddings are going to lie within the websites, because 90% of them are online these days, or you can call them or email them and work directly with them. So when you're going to eventually book a wedding, start exactly with the vendors. Go ahead and start registering with the certain resorts that you like. I would highly recommend at least doing the Hyatt and the Riu in Palace, but these three are the top ones that I definitely would at least start with. And of course, Sandals, maybe Barcelo, but those are like the really core ones that people use a lot because there's so many different resorts that are included in these. So that's where at least where I would start. Okay. Get registered with them in advance. Don't wait until you get your first quote. So when to start planning? Timeline is everything. Ideally, when it comes to destination weddings, people will start booking anywhere from 12 to 18 months. I have seen even further, but normally they'll come to you at least within a year out. This is ideal for larger groups because you guys have to think there's a lot of components that come into a destination wedding. One, you have to hope that nobody else is getting married at the exact same week, date, whatever. And if they are, that makes it even harder to book because of the capacity of the rooms. Two, how many people are going and how much time do they need to pay it off and book it. That's another thing that you have to consider because everybody now has to buy flights and a hotel in order to arrive. So we need to plan all of that, factor it, give them a good timeline, or they're not going to show up. Okay. Now, if you have a guest set that is lower than 20 or less people, then 9 to 12 months is perfectly fine too. Early planning, like I said, secures the rooms and the perks and the vendors. You don't want to sit there and try to plan all of this out and then come to find out your wedding date's already sold out. So tie the deadlines to the guest payment schedules, of course, because in Vax, if you do it or anywhere else, they need time to pay that off. So make sure you give them enough time to book the travel. How to book. So here's the rough advisor workflow. It's the beginning parts, and then I actually have also how to book it in there as well. But this is the beginning part of it. So, of course, you're going to get the inquiry, and then we're going to qualify the couple. If you get a regular inquiry, I want you to send out your actual contact form. We talked about those in the last training that we did. But which is basically wedding planning as an advisor, you have to take some extra qualification steps. And if you need to see that video, it'll be here. I'll have a subscription. I'm going to create a whole playlist just for weddings so you guys can just binge watch it as you go. Okay. But qualify the couple, ask all the important questions, like if it's legal or if it's symbolic. The budget is the biggest factor here because that's going to tell us how much wiggle room we have for planning. And then the guest count is the major factor when it comes to the budget, because more people means we have to feed more, we have to seat more, and that's really what constrains us. So consider all of that. Then I want you to go in and pick roughly about 2 to 3 brands that you feel comfortable with and that you know works great for the client. You're going to confirm the commissions and the perks in writing. Anytime that, unless I have never worked with them, if I have, then I already know. But if I've never worked with them, I go and search and make sure I can find, or I will email somebody there and make sure what are the perks or benefits of me using you as as a travel advisor to book a wedding. And I ask them to write it down. I've done it with Disney before. They have a whole different setting for Disney. But if you go to their weddings at Disney, it's a different setting. It's not even the same people. So I make sure if there's any perks or anything, get it in writing, because you don't know how every vendor works, and I never want you to assume. After you do that, you're going to go in there and start locking in all of the stuff. First, we got to verify that the date's good. The date's good. We're going to go in there, lock in the group contracts. We're going to lock in anything that needs for the flights or the transfers or anything that's extra. We'll start locking that in, getting the deposits set in place. You're going to want to start providing checklists or trackers or facts, anything that you can really give your client to have a tangible item. I did go over that in my last training, but this sets you apart as an advisor. It makes you look really professional. So before you start getting clients, go to ChatGPT, go to Canva. I have an entire guide that I give my clients that I made on Canva. It took me a little bit of time, yeah, but imagine, all right, hey, congratulations, thank you for choosing me. Here's your guide. Let's go ahead and set up this process. And it's like a workable thing that they can go and talk, edit, etc. So it makes it really helpful. Or like even a Google Sheet works. You just need something to be able to track what you need to do next and what's already been done. And you want it to be where you both can see it if it gets edited, basically. Okay. Then, of course, you're going to want to start communicating with the guest so you guys can start sending out quotes, getting them booked, etc. And then, of course, confirming on-site details. I always like to still check in with the wedding coordinator, make sure everything's good, and I have a direct contact with them, even though we do technically hand them off to the client. I don't always trust the coordinator to do all of the work, so I still like to check in and be like the background. That's what we're getting paid for, be in the background. Okay. Now, how to qualify. So if you missed that last training, here's a sample short list of what we need to do. Destination weddings are a little bit different, even regarding weddings in general. Destination weddings are a little bit more in depth when it comes to planning because we can't see everything. So we need to ask these questions. If they have any special requirements, we need to know if it's cultural, religious, dietary, or any accessibility needs. This will help pick what resort they can go to. Total budget. We need to clarify if it includes travel, rooms, events, decor, or just the ceremony by itself. If that is the case, we need to figure out where all the other money is coming from or what they want to do, because you need to figure out really what the budget is, because they'll give you a rough number, but everybody has a real budget, right? Ideal guest list, 10, 50, 100. This drives the resort options plus the group perks. So we need to find that out. Decision makers, who's in charge, couples, parents, or wedding planner. Also a big one. Preferred vibe. Do they want beachfront, chapel? Do they want rooftop, adults only versus family friendly? Then, of course, legal versus symbolic ceremony. If they go and they decide they want to get married legally in that country, there's a lot of requirements that go to it and making sure that it brings back over to the United States. So you need to have that discussion. My best suggestion always is going to be get married in the US and go do it symbolic, because it's going to make it way easier on them, because, it's just really up to them. But talk to them and explain the differences and look up their requirements if that's what they want to do. Then, of course, flexibility. Is the date and location fixed, or is it open to suggestions? A lot of people will already come to you knowing what resort they want. So if that's the case, then go with it. But see if they're available to doing other options, because sometimes there will be a lot of good deals for booking certain resorts for their weddings. They'll have certain perks. So you might want to open their eyes to other options. All right, now, how do you book destination weddings? Steps that most resorts will follow. This is normally how it should go, okay? So you're going to want to, of course, lock in the date. This is after that part because we confirmed the on-site details here, okay? So this is continuing on. So we already know the dates, everything's are good. Now we're going to actually start the booking process. So we're going to secure the group contract. We're going to lock in the rooms and get all the perks set up to make sure that we know we're getting the perks. We're going to contact that wedding department, whether it's via portal, form, or email, and we're making sure that the date is held. I need it in writing that the date's held. I need whatever they want. Like, they will have their own contract as well. If it has any weird forms or information in it, go ahead and feel free to send that to Jose. They have a whole thing. It says group contracts, and it has Jose's email there. So you guys can check that out. I talk about that in the other training too. So check that one out. But in there, you want to make sure that it's all good for you, nothing against you. You want to make sure if there's any commission that's being paid to you, obviously not included for the guest to see, but if it's for you, make sure it's in there, okay? Once we have all of that set up, then you're going to want to submit the forms, get the deposits. Of course, this is required to confirm a ceremony package. They do require a deposit. Then you want to start talking to the assigned coordinator so they can finalize everything, or if there's any upgrades or any legal paperwork that's required if they want to get married legally, you have to talk to the coordinator about it. So get that all set up. And then, of course, after that, you want to start doing the guest bookings. That's when that will come into play. But you need to set up all of this before you get to the guest bookings, because you want to make sure everything's good before we start booking people in those locations. And then I'd like to, honestly, I talk a lot to the guest. Like, I become like the liaison for them. Like, I start pulling everybody in because I want them to book with me. So keep in mind, these people are not your average customers, so they might be working with other travel advisors. Make sure it's still legit, still a good deal, etc., because they will be price comparing with other advisors because they're not used to you being their advisor. So keep that in mind when we're doing all of the bookings, etc., that we come in at a good price point. Next. So here are some examples of what it looks like when we're doing the how to book, depending on the resort. With the Palace Resorts, they have the rooms plus the wedding request inside the Palace Pro portal. Then the wedding specialist gets assigned. You all do that all online. Rio, you can book the rooms in the Rio Pro, and then they have the wedding form that you submit online, and then they contact you. Hyatt rooms in the Playa Resorts agent portal. The wedding department holds the date and assigns the coordinator, so you just contact them. Iberostar, of course, the rooms you can do through their pro, and then you have to actually contact their team for package and details. They don't put them online, like, in depth. You have to ask them, and then they email you. It's silly. Anyways, Hard Rock and Unico, which is the AIC group, you have to book the cabins via the portal, and then you call and email the wedding desk for packages. They'll do the same thing. And then Charisma, you can book it online inside their portal, but you also have to get assigned a signature wedding designer for planning. Yeah, they have a whole thing with Charisma Resorts, so they're fun, but definitely got to do everything online. As you can see, it's 2025. 90% of what we're doing is online, and it's also really hard to contact these resorts. So if you can do it online, then do it online, right? After that, though, after you get this kind of stuff set up, you don't really talk to them too much after, so you just have to get through the initial part, and then you're good to go. Now, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that are going to go inside of the destination weddings that are factors that can stop somebody either from getting married or could potentially become a risk or something. I'm just going to go over these couple of things. We have country requirements, and then we're also going to talk about LGBTQ weddings and safety, because This is something that a lot of destination wedding advisors don't actually take time to learn. So let's get into it. Country requirements. If you plan on legally marrying them over there, they have to have passports, birth certificates, and sometimes they even require, like certain areas require blood tests. Jamaica, it's legal after 24 to 48 hours. There's no blood tests. I've even seen some countries require that you have to be there for so many days too, so many days before the wedding. Like Dominican Republic, single status affidavit, and it has to be translated because they obviously speak a different language. Aruba, it has to be apostilled documents plus certificate of no impediment. What? Okay. Do you see how this can be complicated? When somebody tells me they legally want to get married somewhere, I'm like, let me look this up real quick because you need to know all the requirements because that means sometimes they have to arrive so many dates early. Now, I will tell you for a lot of destination weddings, you have to have a certain amount of time available for your passport, like 6 months available to be exact. So make sure that they have enough leeway on their passport and it's not about to expire as they go over there either because that could be an issue too. Then, oh, wait. Another thing, you guys notice with Europe, they're doing this type of new fee or something that they're charging for entry. So keep in mind when they're going to different countries, make sure that there's no visas or anything that are required for that as well. Next, LGBTQ plus weddings and safety. Inclusivity matters. First of all, you have to be mindful of the language that you're using. Along with that, you have to consider the resorts that they're going to, that it is a safe zone for them, not just for the weddings. So you can see the countries that it is legal in. Symbolic only in many Caribbean islands. That means they can only do like the wedding, not the actual legal part of it. And then here are some resources. You guys can feel free to screenshot them. This is where I pull this information. Now, I have an entire website that I use separately for weddings. And on there, since I do, take care of the LGBTQ plus community, when it comes to weddings, I have an entire breakdown and I let them know what countries they can marry in. I let them know the best resorts, the best honeymoons. I go all out because I just, you want to be careful when you're marrying people. You don't want to send them to a dangerous place, right? So, ways to market destination weddings. First of all, we have to learn about how to get more leads. We got to learn always. This is why I put this in here because a lot of you guys start out and you don't even know where to start. So, let me help you. First thing, start joining directories for destination wedding specialists. They will have them locally, they will have them online, they will have them in Facebook groups. I want you to start just adding yourself into these groups. Start answering questions. Make yourself known that you're a wedding advisor. Start just commenting on things. And you're going to see that when you're commenting that there's probably going to be a lot of engagement. That doesn't matter. Keep commenting. You'll be surprised to see you, right? Engage in Facebook groups for engaged couples. There are groups for that. Add vendor wedding specials into your daily marketing. Just start bringing it in naturally, right? And once they start seeing it, it becomes almost a thing. I even suggest putting it roughly on your Travel Leaders Network. I get a lot of hits from there because of my Travel Leaders Network is for destination weddings. Works great. Share tips. Best time to book legal versus symbolic. Make these into blogs. We talked a lot about blogs. We're going to be talking more about blogs in the next couple of weeks. But when we're doing these blogs, this is how we build SEO. That's something that somebody would search. Illegal versus symbolic ceremonies. People look this stuff up every day. Start building your SEO and tying it together to your link tree, to your social media. Just share it. It'll start circulating. Ooh, really good spot for destination weddings. Pinterest and Instagram. If you was to start making a profile about that and how to book it, it'd be great. You can, honestly, if you want to separate this from your business alone, I totally get it. If you want it to be another part or another niche, you can also do that because this is a whole different subject, right? This is not just booking travel. It could be added on, or it could be separate, or it can be however you want to do it, right? Keep it in mind. Tangible items for clients, deliverables that will add value. So, destination wedding checklist. Those are great. You can easily make those in ChatGPT. Guest RSVP tracker. This would be a good Google Sheets. Timeline handout. I always give this to set proper expectations. And I also put in there how many times we're going to talk, when we're talking, what we're talking about. I put it all in there. What's covered. If I charge a fee, what that fee covers, how I might have to charge more. If I want to charge a fee for booking guests, I can do that. I had a whole bunch of stuff in there. And I make sure it's all written out so that nobody has any questions. Which I've booked quite a few weddings, so I guess that would be why. And then, of course, the fact sheet is where you're going to want to put all that information. Put it all together, build them a package. Let's talk about good tips and tricks now. Always confirm the dates. Never price out before the date is chosen. You can even confirm it if you want to with the client, and then also go and confirm it with the resorts before you give it out, like the price. Okay. Get an ideal guest list early. A head count drives the venue, budget, and the perks. So I would really talk to them and say, is this really how many people are going? Because people always think that like 70, 80 people plus will go, and then only 30 of them show up. So just have that conversation. Clarify the decision makers. It's a couple, family, or someone else. That's the person that has the money and they're paying for the wedding. We need to know who they are. Set expectation on payments. If there's deposits, deadlines, or cancellations, if there's fees for cancellations, you need to let them know. Document everything in writing, email, portal notes. This is going to help avoid miscommunication. And every time you get an email, I want you to forward it to them because I want them to have the same email that you're having so they know exactly what's going on. And then, of course, the biggest thing that I've learned in destination weddings, because life can happen, always have some kind of backup plan. If you start noticing that you're having an issue with one of the resorts, I always pick another resort that's in the area so I can send somebody else to. Yeah. Might not be able to with the flights. We can't change complete destinations, but I always have a suggested backup resort in case things fall through. So that could be for weather, venues, or just guest changes in general. We always need to have backup plans. Tools and tech for advisors. Here's some things that can help you stay organized and professional. HoneyBook is probably one of the best things for destination weddings. HoneyBook is absolutely beautiful. You do have to pay for it. I think it's $20 a month, but they give you like 1 month free, or it's for $1 or something like that. So change emails for all I care, but use HoneyBook. Okay, they will give you the proposals. They will give you just, you can see when they're opening it, when they're reading it, when they sign it. You can see everything inside HoneyBook, and it already has all the templates for you. You just have to go and personalize it. It's beautiful. Canva would be great for your tangible items. Travel Joy is great for the group bookings so you can track it. And then, of course, Meta Business Suite so you can go in there and start scheduling out your post for weddings. All right, so we are at the wrap up and action steps. So if this is something that you are interested in and you want to start selling weddings, go ahead and comment below for me and say weddings. All right, I want some engagement here. If you like this kind of stuff and you're interested in weddings, I can teach more about weddings. I used to have a whole series on weddings. I could teach about it for days, but I need to know that you're interested. So comment below and type weddings. If you're watching in a replay, still comment weddings so I can know. But what I want you to do to take the first steps, pick 2 or 3 suppliers to specialize in. I want you to pick like Ryu, Hyatt, whoever, right? Learn all about them. If they have a certification program, take it. Get at least certified at least one of those programs. And then I want you to start building a wedding inquiry form. Make it a little bit different, make it a little bit more deeper when it comes to the how to qualify. Ask ChatGPT, your bestie, to help you. Then, of course, make a checklist template so you can have it already set up. So when they send you an inquiry, you can reply back with that checklist template and say, all right, this is what we're going to be doing now. This is the part we're working on. This is the steps I normally take when I'm booking a wedding. They already know what to expect. Then get into the habit of posting wedding specials in your daily marketing. Go ahead and schedule a few of them out so you can start including it. So it will become a part of your algorithm as you grow. All right, that's all I have for you guys tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and, of course, head over to my studio to answer your questions if you have any. But tomorrow, make sure you join us again at 5 p.m. PST, same place. We're going to go over cruise weddings. And if you're watching this as a replay, it will now pop up with my playlist. So other than that, you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow right back here at 5 p.m. PST, where I will be going over cruise weddings.